What is happening, best ever listeners? Welcome to the Best Ever CRE Show. This is your host, Matt Faircloth, and I have a very exciting Best Ever CRE Show coming at you guys today. I'm going to be talking about Best Ever Conference, what's behind it, what's in it, why I love Best Ever Con, and we're going to be delving into just the idea of conferences in general. We're going to be unpacking a lot of cool stuff, and to get into the cool stuff, I'm bringing in Captain Cool Stuff. This is Mr. Ben Lapidus. Ben, welcome to the Best Ever CRE Show. You've been a regular on this show. You and I have had a few conversations here, and I'm excited to unpack today's conversation with you today. So welcome.
Thanks, Matt. Excited to be back.
Yeah. So let's talk about this is an interesting conversation I want to get in with you. And I'm excited to have this. And this is a conversation I've never had. I've always known you that forever, and maybe your whole life, you've been the coordinator of Best Ever Con, but we're approaching Best Ever X. And I never had a chance to ask you how Best Ever Con came to be and how your involvement for Best Ever Con came to be and just how you and Joe started this whole freaking thing, man. So tell me real quick the history of Best Ever Con and how it started.
Yeah, 10 years of Best Ever Conference. Can you believe it? 10 years running. This thing's been around.
BECX.
We've had almost 10,000 people at the Best Ever Conference. So it started in 2012. I had bought my first 2 single families. I was working in advertising technology in New York City, and whoever sat next to me in my cubicle, I was living the cubicle life of a tech company at 23 years old.
Yeah, right.
The guy who sat next to me knew I was buying single families and said, "Hey, look at this Skillshare class." This is back when Skillshare was still in person and not like a digital thing. And there was a guy saying, "I will teach you how to buy a $7 million apartment building for $15,000. And so like, yeah, I'm there. Yeah. And I showed up, and it's me, my buddy, and 4 other people taking a Skillshare class from Joe Fairless right after he had bought 4 months, maybe after he bought his first multifamily deal.
He's teaching the class.
What's that?
Joe's teaching the class.
Joe is teaching the class.
Professor Joe Fairless in front of the room.
Professor Joe Fairless himself, back in the OG days. This is early 2012. He is pioneering himself for the first time at this Skillshare class with 6 attendees, and I just happened to be one of them. And from that interaction, I become his experimental mentee of his new coaching program. I was his first attempt. I just happened to break my leg 30 days later. And I had all the time in the world after I did that. And so I bought my first apartment building with Joe under his tutelage, and it was a great experience. And fast forward a few years later, I'm leaving New York City. I'm moving to Denver, Colorado. I know no one. And the work that I'm doing in New York pays about 1/3 in Denver. So it's time to go full on real estate investor at 26 years old. Right. So I called Joe. I had watched him launch this podcast in between 2012 and 2015 when I was making that move, and said, "Hey, you've got this podcast. It's been very successful. Best Ever was like the 3rd real estate podcast to come out that got any type of actual listenership. His whole daily podcast idea made pretty good sense. There wasn't a ton of competition at the time for attention. And so I said, "Hey, you've got the interviewees. You've just interviewed 300, 500 people, and you've got the megaphone. I've built an experience company before. I had an earlier experience building a study abroad company. I will build a fantastic experience. Do you want to couple your megaphone and your Rolodex of interesting interview guests with my ability to put on a good show? I'm a good showman." And he said, "You know what? I put on my to-do list, my goals for this year, build a conference, but I haven't done anything about it. So I'm glad that you showed back up in my life, Ben." And that was the impetus for it. And really right before that, Matt, I had gone maybe 7, 8, 9 weekend events, real estate conferences, just looking for kind of that intermediate entrepreneurial community of real estate investor back in 2012. And I kept finding myself in kind of flip summits, like flipping house summits, where it was just one long 2-3 day long sales pitch for a 6-figure, one way to skin a cat. I've got the magic answers. I will peel back the curtain. And I just knew that wasn't true. So we built this conference with a few key values: connection, diversity of thought on stage, engaging storytellers, and nuggets of wisdom at every turn. The point being that we were not going to be attracting the looky-loos, the people who said, show me the book on how to do this, but we were going to bring people together who were already participating, had different approaches to being successful, and we were going to help them learn from each other, both on and off the stage.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so, okay, and you did it, because that's everything you just described. Everything you just described has been my experience in that. But let's go back to the first Best Ever Con, right? So the first Best Ever Con was that in New York where you and Joe met? Was that in Denver where you were later in life or whatever? Where was the first Best Ever Con, and what did it look like?
Early 2016, I officially make the move. I called Joe June of 2016 to start this conference. By February of 2017, we have the first Best Ever Conference at the Ellie Calkins Opera House in downtown Denver. We had 175 people at this first event. It was basically a large meetup, and I had no idea how it was going to go, but it was a very fun, exciting time. And I've been chasing the high of that first year Best Ever Conference ever since.
There's something like there's a high to that first of anything like that, or like the nervousness of like getting a big group of people together. And it's like, I don't know how this is going to go. Who knows? Right. So who was your first, like some of your big, like, your like the keynotes or folks, did you do keynotes and that kind of thing at the first conference? And,
Yep. So the first year Best Ever Conference, it was not a focus on commercial real estate syndication. It was just a general, entrepreneurial real estate investing conference, not a mom and pop fix and flip, but by all means, you're welcome here.
Yeah.
And so our keynote that year was actually Chris Clothier from Memphis Invest. And they were flipping thousands of houses a year in the Memphis metro and 2 other metros, and then turnkey selling them through demand side organizations like the Real Wealth Network, Rich and Kathy Fecky. And just the sheer scale of what they were doing. I remember having dinner with Chris in Denver at that conference, and the concept of becoming a category of one was made clear to me. And that became a personal, professional mission, is to become a category of one. Whatever it is that I do, pursue it such that I become a category of one.
I think
I learned that from Chris that year. And that was my whole premise, was put people on stage that I would personally find intoxicating to learn from. And if I'm the avatar for the audience, there's got to be other people out there that are just as interested in the content who I'll enjoy meeting and networking with as well. And that turned out to be true.
So you say category of one, right? Well, I think I understand what you mean by that. But tell me what you mean by that, right?
Category of one, it kind of goes back to this. If you've ever read The Lean Startup Machine by Eric Ries, which I was a VC startup nerd back in 2008, 2009. And that book said the best business or the best profession is at the intersection of 3 things. Something that you're passionate about, you love doing, you enjoy so much, it fills up your cup every day. Something that is economically viable. You can make good money, you can make a living, you can support you and your family and your dreams. And something that you can become great at. Something that you can say, I have left a legacy of excellence in. And whether it's a startup or a profession, those 3 things are at the intersection. I've since learned, by the way, that the Japanese word ikigai is basically the same concept with a 4th criteria, which is something that the world needs. And that's what I'm chasing today. But at the time, I only thought of things as a dichotomy of 2 options. You chase your passion or you chase money. Both isn't an option. And that's what I learned growing up. And so it became this immense aha moment of no, they should be at the intersection of both and something that you can achieve excellence at. And I only saw that with clarity for the first time because of the Best Ever Conference.
I love that. I love that. And a few things that I think make conferences great, right? And I've been to many conferences and, large and small, right? What I think makes a conference great is the alignment of common interests, meaning like that, if I meet somebody in line at the buffet at a certain conference or whatever, and it's like, I'm a, residential landlord guy, and the person next to me in line is a fix and flipper. There may be some curiosities in that, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, how do you do the fix and flip? Yeah, I got my own crew, find my own deals, do this. There's curiosities, but not enough curiosity that I'm going to really bring anything home. Maybe some business operational ideas or whatever it is. But what I like about conferences is when there's enough alignment and initiatives and interests and those kinds of things and in sophistications that if I meet somebody in line anywhere at the conference, there's potential for me to learn real things, real applicable things from them that I could bring home to my business. Maybe not to start my own Memphis Invest, but the idea is like, well, how do you go national like that? Like, how are you able to scale? Like, who works in different angles of your business and whatnot? Because it's like, well, maybe I want to scale to a national level for what I do. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just curious, right? But I like what Best Ever is in that there is enough sophistication and enough commonalities in the room that when you bump into somebody for what you've created at Best Ever Con, I've learned a ton from anybody I've ever met. And I think that has to do with the folks that get attracted to Best Ever. It's not a super wide tent with like 4 or 5, 10,000 of your best friends that just want to go talk real estate investing. That's a big tent. Best Ever is more than that. It's like a graduate level real estate level conference. It isn't that if you don't own any rental properties yet, maybe it's there for you to go and learn and be a fly on the wall, but more likely you're going to see people at Best Ever that already have investments going and want to get to the next level, either as a passive investor or as an active investor.
Yeah. And I think we've done that in a couple of ways, Matt. The first is we focused up. So instead of just being a general real estate investing conference that's here to, be monetarily neutral and focus on networking and not sell you anything, which is all still true, we've really focused up the content. Single family is just not where we're paying attention. We're focused exclusively on commercial real estate investing. And even more refined inside of that, we're focused on the retail capital syndication community of commercial real estate investors. So if you're an institutional shop, or you're using your own money, you'll certainly have things to learn here, but there's going to be plenty of content that's not for you because we are focused on retail capital syndication. I think the second thing that we've done is we've optimized our performance, our show, because this is a execution of a good time. This is throwing a big party for people in a way that's curated to produce a certain energy and outcome for all of its attendees, all of its participants. And the way we thought about optimizing is through this fluffy concept of collisions per capita. And when you're talking about the guy in the line of like, oh, a fix and flip guy, like, oh, some interesting, intrigue there, but it's not really something that we can learn off of each other, perhaps. And I think that's the difference between meaningful and not meaningful collisions. And so what we've done is we've tried to optimize for both quality of attendee and density of attendees. And by that, I mean, we are signaling to the world, don't come if you're a fix and flip guy or a burr strategy person. There's plenty of places for you that you'll have a lot more fun and a lot more attention, like bigger pockets. Don't come if you're a Wall Street, you get your money from Chase or wherever, unless you've got a curiosity about what we're doing in the retail capital world. Don't come if you're just focused on building your career in property management. Do come if you are a good fit for this content. And what we found is 96% in our survey results averaged over the last 4 years, 96% of people in attendance have participated in a commercial real estate deal as a GP or an LP in the last 6 months of the conference. 96%, which means that almost everyone that you collide with is going to have a relevant story or experience that you can learn something from. And people think that they're coming for the content. That's what sells. We try to get the right people on stage, but it turns out what you remember when you go home, there's a couple of things that you wrote down. There's a couple of nuggets of wisdom, good stories that you heard on stage, but it's a few key people that you met along the way that made the experience 100 times more worthwhile than the investment of your time and energy and your money away from your family. And so we've really focused up on increasing those collisions per capita and having as many quality collisions as possible for each person.
I think I want to just say, man, I think it's a little ballsy, and I think it's successful for Best Ever to go a little bit deeper into the space, right? And not say, let's just make it general real estate investing, because then we could sell 3,000 tickets and have this thing at a big old arena and everything like that, and have lots more people. And that certainly has been a possibility for Best Ever. But I commend you and Joe for leaning away from that and not making it like, let's just create this big old tent. And you know what? Let's invite the I love Pace Morby, great guy, but the sub 2 community has another home, right? Doesn't need to be at Best Ever Con. There's fix and flippers and everything like that. They have their other homes too. And I really commend you and Joe for kind of keeping the box at a certain size and not saying, if we decided to invite in wholesalers and make that a business venture too for the part of the commercial space, yes, it doesn't involve capital, but they sure could fill a lot of seats for us. And they sure could put a lot of butts in the room. I commend you guys for not doing that because it really kept the quality of folks that you bump into in the hallways a little bit higher. You're right. 96% of the people have participated in some level of syndication at Best Ever. And you can tell when you walk around the hallways and you talk to people about what they're up to. I was at Best Ever Con last year, just work in the room. And I talked to one, you guys go, oh yeah, I'm an LP. I'm a limited partner, passive investor. I said, oh great. What are you up to? He's like, I'm involved in 70 syndications right now. And I tried to maintain my composure and not smile too big when he said that. He's like, I'm involved in 70 syndications, looking to place $1 million right now. I've got a few different things that are coming out and everything like that. I'm looking for some new placements. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Nice to meet you. And it's like, you try and keep it together because it's like, when else do you bump into somebody like that at a conference that is that sophisticated and that open about what they're up to? And they're there. He was there because he knew the folks that he would have interfaced with was there at the conference as well. And I think he did well from when I talked to him towards the end. He said he made a lot of great contacts. It's hard to meet somebody like that if the pool gets diluted a bit. So
it is. And yeah, not to one up you, Matt, but last year I was surprised by this one. I met someone who owns an NBA basketball team.
Stop
at the
it.
conference. I was like, what are you doing here? Like, oh, looking for, investment opportunities. Like, okay, all right.
Come on in, buddy.
You know what I will say? He did not buy a ticket. He just walked right in. Don't do that, folks at home.
Let him in. No problem. If you own any type of sports team, you're more than welcome. So if you're listening and and if you own an NBA team, Ben will give you a free ticket to Best Ever Con right now. If you own an NBA team, no problem. What are some memories that you've had over the years? Because I've had mine as well. A lot of laughs, a lot of fun, a lot of aha moments. My company DeRosa, under the current partners that I have, was started at a Best Ever Con, the one that you had at the Gaylord in Denver. I think might have had a few at that venue, but at that venue a few years ago, myself and my current partners decided to start our venture under the DeRosa brand and I think that it's just. You know why? It's because it's inspiring to be there. And we're like, man, we really should go next level. And all these other guys around here are next level, these guys and gals I meet, I want to go next level too. So you're right. Let's all band up and go next level. And we did. And I know you've got some other stories from other folks that did the same or other memories you have at Best Ever. Can you share some of those, please?
Yeah. I think that's the thing that I'm most proud of. Not that it's my win here. First of all, it's the whole team at Best Ever that's participated in making it what it is today. But secondly, it's the folks who are in attendance making these decisions. But to be even part of the facilitation story of some of these companies that have changed not only the lives of the founders, but its team members and its investors, makes me feel like I've had an impact, a ripple effect on our cottage community, our cottage industry. And there's dozens of brand name companies where like DeRosa. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I actually realized that to the extent that you just mentioned it. But Nomad Capital, even my partners, former partners at Spartan Investment Group, we met through the Best Ever conference, and there's dozens of brand names that I don't know if I'm allowed to say them or not, so I'm not going to. But there's so many stories. I know Whitney Sewell and Sam Cook, they're not, formerly with LifeBridge Capital. But I think that really came to a head when after Brandon Turner keynoted. I was going to say, I
was waiting for you to mention the big beard, right? The big beard formed his thing.
He'll tell this story too. But when he came to the conference and he spoke, and then he comes back 2 years later and he says, actually, the last time I was here was when I realized I need to start Open Door Capital. I'm not on the right path here. And he was there to speak, but he was also impacted by the experience such that his life was knocked off course a little bit for what I think he would describe as the better. And just again, to be part of that facilitation story with so many individuals, people who I respect, a lot of whom I look up to, is a point of pride for me.
Yeah.
In some of the more fun moments, we like to have fun on stage. You've been part of the Pitch Slam, which is like a TechCrunch Disrupt on stage. We don't just have, speakers and panels. Panels are boring. Let's be real. I try to make the panels as great as possible. That's where you get the most consolidated nuggets of wisdom, but they're boring.
Yeah.
They're boring. So we like to have a good time. We do game shows. We've got the intellectual debate. We've got the Pitch Slam. We've got the partner hunting. We've got the GPLP speed networking. We like to have fun on stage. It's not just a dry conference. It's a party. It's a show. It's a circus. I like to channel my Hugh Jackman from The Greatest Showman when we're doing this thing. And some of my favorite moments are having Neil Bawa and John Chang, really energizing characters with more commercial real estate data at their disposal than almost anyone in the country, just slandering each other in front of 1,000 people for the sheer entertainment pleasure of the audience. It's such a good time. I love running the debate, and so those are great memories for me.
Yeah. No, I remember one of my first best ever cons. I remember Neil just came up there on the at the debate, and he just absolutely just started yelling, and I was he had me in tears. I was laughing so hard. He's making sense, but his antics and animations and everything like that, and his knowledge. They call him mad scientist for a reason. In that. So, best ever listeners, real quick, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I want to remind you guys, if you guys want to join Ben and I and all the other folks that we're going to get into in a second here at Best Ever Con, go to besteverconference.com, buy yourself a ticket and use the coupon code. I got a deal for you guys. I can save you guys hundreds of bucks right now. Use the coupon code podcast, all capital letters, podcast10 to save 10% off of any ticket you want at Best Ever Con. Let's take a quick break from our commercial spot from our sponsors, and we're going to get back. I'm going to talk to Ben about some of the things you guys could expect coming up at Best Ever Con 2026 or BECX. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we're back. Ben, really great conversation so far about Best Ever Con. And honestly, I'll just say one more time, it's my favorite conference by far. It's a conference that I've gone to many years, whether I'm speaking or not. I get there every year because of the value that I get and the folks that I meet. I've met many of my LP investors. I've met folks that I do regular business with, folks that we've done collaborations with and everything like that at Best Ever Con. So it really just lives up to its name, so to speak. With regards to the venue, you've had this thing at ski resorts. You've had it in downtown Denver before. You've moved it around a bit. What are some of the venues that you've had in the past and why? And then we can get into where it is this upcoming year.
Yeah, the hypothesis, once we realized we had some legs with this conference, that there was demand, and that every year we grew by about 100% in attendance for about 3 years. And so once we realized we had some legs, we decided to say, okay, how can we kind of be off the path of the conference schedule, the event schedule? How can we be kind of standalone, like a South by Southwest or a CES? They've got their cities, they've got their weekends, and they don't change. So we said, let's pick Denver in February. There's going to be some people from Southern California that say, I'm going to get hypoxia. I'm going to slip on the ice. And that is some collateral damage of that decision. But there's going to be other people who are going to say, I can go skiing before or after this conference, and I'd love to get to Denver. So we picked, Q1, you don't see a lot of conferences. So we decided to go something early in February in Denver. It was convenient for me. It was a way that I could build my family and build this conference and build my investment company all at the same time. And so we did it in Denver until we got too big. We grew out of every venue that we went to, and we kept bopping around. And like you said, we were in Keystone one year because the Keystone Conference Center was one of 3 remaining facilities that we were could fit in the entire state of Colorado, until we grew out of all of them. And so then eventually we did have to relocate. Salt Lake City is a city, it's like a sister city to Denver. It's got a similar vibe. It's got the same kind of recreation and up and coming nature, probably more so an up and coming nature in Salt Lake City than in Denver today. And it's building skyscrapers all over the place. So we got in at the brand new Hyatt Regency downtown 2 years ago as their second ever event, a multi-billion-dollar hotel. We actually had the developer of that hotel at the conference that year.
No way.
And did you not know that? Yeah, we had the.
I definitely got to meet them or hear them speak or whatever it was. I didn't realize that, but yeah, that's amazing.
So we've made that our home ever since. We love Salt Lake City. It's convenient. It's 10, 15 minutes from the airport. You're only 20 minutes away from skiing. You're 20 minutes away from Salt Lake. It's a great place for food. It's a great town. And in the Hyatt Regency, it's new, it's beautiful. It's a fun place to be.
I didn't realize Salt Lake City was such a foodie town, man. When I first started going out there, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's like a freaking beer and taco spot like 2 blocks away from here. And there's this really amazing Italian restaurant. And there's all these different, Salt Lake City's got a foodie scene. The Mormons know how to eat, I guess, you know, and that, so there's a really fun, more fun than I thought it would be, let's say.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. You're in a bowl surrounded by mountains on both sides. In Denver, you look out to the west and you got this beautiful view of the mountains. In Salt Lake City, you could look either direction and you've got this beautiful view of the mountains.
Did I tell you that
I think is the most beautiful state.
We brought out our entire DeRosa team, which is around 10-ish on the leadership team people. We brought everybody out, and my marketing director at the time found a karaoke bar a block away from. Did you know there's a karaoke bar a block away from the hotel? I did not know that, no. And we went and did karaoke. That was the only rule. It's like, listen, if we go, everyone has to sing karaoke. And so I got up there. We all did karaoke at a karaoke bar around the corner.
Let me guess. Bye 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 by NSYNC. That was your choice song.
No, Living on a Prayer by Jovi. Thank you very much. Come on, man. Former Jersey guy. You should know that, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. That's the New Jersey. That's the New Jersey state anthem. Living on a Prayer. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, but no, not Bye Bye Bye. I probably don't know the words to that one, but I sure know all the words to Living on a Prayer. Yeah. No, sorry. Well, maybe I'll take you to the karaoke bar and you can sing Bye Bye Bye. Right?
All right.
Yeah. Smartly enough, you're having the venue this year right after President's Day weekend. So for those that are skiers, and I plan on going with my family, and we're going to go skiing over President's Day weekend, and then just keep hanging with me, my wife, and the kids for Best Ever Con right afterwards and everything like that. So thank you very much for doing that, because now I get my skiing in for the year. So
of course.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about what people can expect from this year's Best Ever Con. Looking at the agenda here, who are you excited to hear speak that you think is gonna go lights out?
Yeah, I mean, so John Chang has become a staple of the Best Ever Conference, and
He's a smart dude, man.
John Chang, he is the Senior Vice President of Research and Advisory Services. Let me say that again. Senior Vice President, National Director of Research and Advisory Services at Marcus and Millichap. Marcus and Millichap is right? It's like, how many words does this title need?
Yeah. Well, he's also the Sunday host of the Best Ever.
He's also the
show.
Sunday host.
So,
right. Yes.
Which is, by the way, the most listened to episode per week of the Best Ever CRE show. Even though I'm a host too, I can accept that because I listen to his show also. Best Ever listeners, if you guys are not listening to his shows, they come out on Sundays. It is literally a view of what's going to happen. John just breaks out his crystal ball and tells you exactly what the economic world's looking like. Sometimes he brings on a guest, sometimes he doesn't. It's a phenomenal episode, and he's going to be running one of our keynotes and just telling us pretty much pulling the crystal ball out on stage. I might encourage him to take a few questions from the audience. You guys want to pick his brain, ask him what he thinks about all the things. You want to throw out tariffs? Ask John. You want to ask John what he thinks about what's going on with regards to interest rates and if it's going to affect the 2026 real estate market? Ask John. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks. I've never seen him pull any punches, and he's very real about how he thinks the economic factors in the world are going to affect real estate investors.
The amazing thing about John is that, number one, he sits at a category of one vantage point in the industry. Yep. Marcus & Millichap is the largest brokerage shop in America by transaction volume, by not by dollars, but by number of transactions that occur in the US every single year. And so from a data perspective, you've got a company that's spending tens of millions of dollars on data, plus is collecting more first-party data, in data volume anyway, than any other brokerage house in the country. And John is sitting at the top of that data pile. He has more access to data than anyone. Yeah. And he brings that data knowledge and that, number two, incredibly unique storytelling ability, comedic, digestible, to the Best Ever Conference for unique insights that every year he only brings to this location, which I love about John. Yeah, I love that he does that for us. And so, I'm excited to see John. That's the first one that I mark off on my own calendar. Say, okay, get off the stage now, walk around to the back and go sit in a seat and watch and listen because you got something to learn. Ben Lapidus. So yeah, I'm excited to see John. There's a couple of folks here that I'm excited to see return to the stage. They've been winners of the Pitch Slam in the past. People like Chris Reese from MJ REIT, a guy with 25 years of institutional asset management experience, starting a cannabis REIT with a very unique approach to his investment thesis. Disclosure, I'm personally invested with Chris, and he was last year's Pitch Slam winner. I'm excited to see him come back this year as a judge. Same with Neil Walgren from Mag Capital, past Pitch Slam winner. He's coming back this year as a judge. I'm also invested with Mag Capital. Even the Fraser boys, Bob Fraser and Ben Fraser. Bob Fraser is a closeted economics freak. This guy is insane. He looks at everything under the sun, not just commercial real estate. He's looking at oil and energy and distress notes, and he has got a great sense of where capital markets are today, because not only has he been doing this for 20, 25 years as an economist and an investor, but he now supplies pref equity investments to sponsors like you and I, Matt. And so now he's collecting first-party data on pref equity and mezzanine performance. And so I'm excited to see what he has to say about capital markets this year. I'm excited for him to bring that new vantage point back to Best Ever Conference. There's a lot of folks who are just insanely capable retail capital investor fundraisers who are still making it work. People like Ben Fraser, who is still raising $50 million a year, $50,000, $100,000 at a time.
And
he's going to be on stage talking about how he's doing that.
He's going to share how he's doing that from stage.
He's going to share how he's doing that. And this emerging additional node of how our industry works, these fund-to-funds, or as Rich McGear, another one of our podcast hosts, calls them, the ICAs. TribeVest calls them the ICAs, independent, forgetting what ICA stands for, but the fund-to-fund managers. We're going to be spending time talking about how these fund-to-fund managers are built, how they can be plugged into your team as a sponsor, and how you can use it as an engine for capital raising. So a lot of great content focused on retail capital, macroeconomic looks for commercial real estate and capital markets, and just how AI is changing the landscape for everyone. We've got multiple artificial intelligence sessions going on this year as well.
Yeah. I mean, I know Joe's been running a segment on our YouTube channel here at Best Ever about AI on a weekly basis as well. So guys, check that out. But Joe's also going to be doing some of that from stage with a panel. The underlying theme I see here at Best Ever Con is the new ways to raise capital today, be that through ICAs and fund-to-funds, be that through aggressive and creative marketing tactics, because a lot of that's going to be talked about. And then on the other side of it, Ben, I see a lot of conversations here when I look at the agenda for Best Ever Con about what to do with the money once you have it. There's conversations, of course, about multifamily, right? There's conversations about alternative housing strategies. You guys want to talk about ADUs? You guys want to talk about ways to do co-living or ways to do assisted living, those kinds of things. Those conversations are going to be there. As you know, there's always folks on the stage talking about everything from, we're going to be talking about flex industrial investments. We're going to be talking about, self-storage. All those kinds of things are all going to be talked about. So like I said, where to get the money and where to put it all over different real estate investing tactics. So whether you're an LP investor, those conversations are going to be there for you. And if you're a GP or a capital aggregator that might want to consider doing a fund-to-fund, meaning bringing a bunch of cash from your own network and then putting that money to work in investment strategies, perhaps for people you meet at Best Ever, these are all going to be conversations that are going to be there. So if you're playing the game of real estate already, this Best Ever Con is going to be all about how to get to the next level with your capital raising game and with the capital placements that you put forth. This is what I see from the agenda.
Yeah. And if we're just going to keep riffing here, a couple of other folks I'm excited about. Usually it was a slog getting a CPA to the Best Ever Conference in years past, because think about, tax day, March 15th for businesses, and we're within 30 days of that. This year, we've got 3 CPAs, including one from a top 5 nationwide accounting firm, one of the real estate partners, talking about, they lobby the American government. So talk about knowing what's going on in tax law and what that means for you as somebody with wealth. In protecting your wealth. We also have a gentleman coming from a bank that's not just financing commercial real estate and really tripling down on construction financing, but he also represents one of the largest slugs of debt capital for search firms. So if you talk about OpCo acquisitions, if that's interesting to you, this guy has got access to multiple sleeves of debt capital, and he's going to be talking about the capital markets and all these different arenas for growing your business, through acquisition of operations or acquisitions of real estate, which is going to be a cool conversation. I'm personally excited to fireside chat with Shane on that one. So yeah, lots of really cool content that we got coming.
I'll bring it home with two more here. If you guys enjoy the Best Ever CRE show, would you like to be a guest in the Best Ever CRE show? Well, guess what? We're going to be having a podcast booth there. Myself and all the other podcast hosts will be there recording episodes for Best Ever CRE. And if you have your own podcast, you can record episodes of your show at Best Ever Con using the podcast booth that we're going to have there. So if you'd like to be a guest on Best Ever, or if you'd like to record your show from Best Ever from the top tier professionally run booth that we're going to have, you can do that. One last tease here, Ben. Did you know that there is a $1 trillion transfer of wealth happening in the next couple of years in the United States?
I didn't want to say it because of the nepotism, but I'm so excited.
Yeah, but I'll do it, right? I'll talk about it. There is $10 trillion moving from one demographic to another demographic. And Liz Faircloth is going to be talking about that transfer of wealth that's going to be happening. She runs the real estate investment. So if you guys are listening, when you hear about the new demographic that's going to be taking on that 10 trillion, hint, it's real estate invest her. So you might be able to get where that capital is going to be going to, right? Come to Best EverCon because you'll hear about how that transfer of wealth is happening. It's a fact. It's not a thesis. It has already been proven that it's happening. But what should we do about it, Ben? As a capital raiser, how can I change my business to attract the new demographic of women that are going to be stepping in and forward in front to be probably the most likely LP I'm going to deal with? It will likely be a woman, and the likely GP, more probability, will be a woman as well. So how do we as vendors, as GPs, as LPs as well, handle the trend, and what should we set up in our businesses to accommodate the large demographic that's going to be stepping into $10 trillion in the transfer of wealth that's going to be happening over the next couple of years? Stay tuned. That's going to be in Liz's keynote presentation that she gives at Best Ever Con. So I'm super excited to hear what she has to say on that too. And she's reviewed the data with me. It is mind blowing what's happening and what we have to do about it as business owners if we want to stay relevant to the new, the new keeper of capital in the next 10 years.
I'll be honest. That is the single session I am most excited to watch myself. Is Liz's session. So I'm pretty excited about that one.
She's already it's months ahead of time. She's already really drafted a lot of it. So it's going to be super exciting. So
let me throw one more plug out there, Matt, if that's all right with you. So the Pitch Slam is an opportunity to put yourself and your deal or your investment thesis out on stage and have it compete in front of hundreds of LPs and your GP peers. We get 6 judges up on stage to evaluate whether or not your deal can muster up with the competition. And we are going to be picking a winner this year who is going to be getting free advertising with the Best Ever ecosystem from a panel of 6 judges out of 10 semifinalists. Applications for participation are still open. You do not need to have an existing deal to present. You can be talking about a past deal that you have already done. As long as you have gone full cycle on at least one deal, you are of your investment thesis, you are in consideration for being accepted as a semifinalist for the Best Ever Pitch Slam. We are still accepting applications. We only have a few spots available.
I love it.
Go to besteverconference.com, click that Pitch Slam button, and send us what you got, what you're working on. The more niche your investment thesis, the more excited we'd be to talk to you.
I've been a presenter. I've presented and I've been a judge both for Pitch Slam. I can tell you it is a great experience to put your investment thesis or your actual investment out in front of a group of a lot of people, a lot of LPs. When I went up there, I got a lot of LP investment that came to me, not guaranteed, of course, but it's a great way to put what you have out in front of a group of very, very serious LP investors. Secondly, it's a great way to put what you have in front of a group of peers, other peers that are going to give you real live feedback and are going to vote for how you did, kind of like a Shark Tanky kind of model, right? And so I'm really excited to see what kind of applications we get here for Pitch Slam this year, because it's great to see organizations like MJ REIT, they're funding the cannabis space. I mean, what a really neat investment thesis that is. I'm excited to see what other investment ideas we get from the audience for those that want to go to besteverconference.com and apply as a Pitch Slam presenter. So guys, consider doing that too. Ben, Once again, thank you for all you do for coordinating Best Ever Con over the years. I'm super excited to see you cross the milestone of BEC X. Feels like a WWF thing, or feels like a Super Bowl or whatever, to put the X on the end of it there like that. And so I'm really grateful for all you've done over the years to bring the Best Ever Conference model I'm glad you and Joe had this idea, and I'm glad you brought it along for the last 10 years. So thank you for all you've done. Best Ever listeners, one last time, besteverconference.com, and go to buy your ticket and use the code podcast, all capital letters 10, to get 10% off your Best Ever Con ticket. I hope to see you guys there. Ben, any final thoughts for listeners here, and hoping they can make it out to see us in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, folks who think that they're coming for the content, the stage, the excellent speakers, that's all well and good. But really, it's the community of people, the audience that's there, the networking that's there, that makes it as valuable as it is, or as you've heard of it from other folks that you might have talked to about the Best Ever Conference. So I hope to see you there. Looking forward to meeting everyone that comes fresh this year.
Yeah, I'll even say this. This isn't like a promise, but this is just my prediction. If you come to Best Ever Con, you will do more deals. And if you do more deals, you'll make more money. And the money you make will certainly be multiples, probably 50x more than what you will pay for a Best Ever Con ticket, because of the audience we're going to have, because of the speakers that are going to be there, and because of the folks you're going to rub elbows with, and just like you said, just structured collisions, right? Through everything from the speed dating and the partner hunting events that we're going to have, all of the stuff that's going to be there. You're going to meet great people, and you'll likely do a deal or two with the folks that you meet. And how much money are you going to make if you can do more deals? Just, remember that. So until then, guys, thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope I see all you guys at Best Ever Con out in Salt Lake City in February. Tickets are limited, so hopefully you guys can jump in and get your tickets now before they sell out. I will see you then. Ben, thanks for joining me today. And listeners, thank you for all your support for the Best Ever movement, and have a best ever day.